Today on the CTV News at 5, after nearly a week on the run, the Canadian at the center of an international manhunt is apprehended in Berlin. Plus, police continue to look for the person behind a bomb threat at the North Lethbridge Walmart. And how Southern Albertans are celebrating the Queen's Diamond Jubilee.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. A number of thunderstorm watches have been issued for Lethbridge and southern Alberta communities. We'll go to Dory Rossiter for more on that in just a moment. But first, it took about 10 days, but the man at the center of an international manhunt was nabbed today in Berlin. Luca Magnotta is now in custody in a German prison. He faces several charges in connection with a grisly murder and dismemberment case in Montreal. The CTV's Cindy Sherwin reports, despite a warrant for Magnotta's arrest in 190 countries, it wasn't the police that spotted him first.
This surveillance camera captured the first fleeting images of Luca Magnotta in handcuffs after he was arrested by police in Berlin. Magnotta chose to go to this internet cafe in Germany this afternoon, despite the fact he'd been on the run for a week, the subject of an international manhunt.
This is the kind of person that look for attention, so we're not that surprised.
The owner of the cafe in the Neukölln district says Magnotta had come in to read news reports about himself. That proved to be his undoing. An employee recognized him and called police.
So we sent a police car with 7 uniformed police to the spot. They talked to the individual and said they want to see identity. He tried to give them a false name, but the police insisted. And so he said, "You've got me," and we arrested him.
Montreal police waited several hours to announce the arrest here.
We're waiting to get a 100% result of that, and this is the fingerprints that confirm his identity.
Magnotta left Montreal for France on May 26th. He was spotted in Paris at a cafe and a hotel, and then made his way to Germany.
The next thing is that, of course, we brought him to a police station where he will probably stay overnight. And so we will just decide tomorrow and probably talk to a judge about what is going on in the future.
According to Interpol, the suspected murderer has been placed under provisional arrest pending extradition. There is much paperwork and legalities to consider, and police do not know when Magnotta will be back on Canadian soil to face justice here.
It depends. If he's contesting whether or not he will be deported, that could take longer. He could be here very soon.
Montreal police do know, however, that the biggest worldwide manhunt in department history was also the fastest investigation, as the suspect's prolific posting online of photos, videos, and disguises made tracking him easier.
We said from the beginning the web have been used for him to glorify himself, and we believe that's the web that brought him down also.
The investigation is far from over. Police will work to determine whether or not Luca Magnotta could be connected to other crimes as they work to bring him back to Montreal. Cindy Sherwin, CTV News.
Montreal police say the task of bringing him back to Canada could take some time. We'll have more on that at 5:30. Lethbridge Regional Police are trying to find out who placed a mysterious call about a bomb threat at the Northside Walmart. Police received the call just before 8 o'clock Sunday night from a man who simply claimed there was a bomb inside the store and then hung up. Officers decided to evacuate the building so it could be searched for suspicious packages. The search came up empty. The store was closed for about 3 hours. Police are continuing to investigate, adding they expect to lay criminal charges against the caller. A Calgary climber is recovering in hospital after a very bad fall near Pincher Creek this weekend. RCMP say the 50-year-old man slipped while crossing a patch of snow while descending from Victoria Peak 20 kilometers southwest of Pincher Creek. He slid about 20 meters before hitting a tree, badly injuring his chest. Search and rescue originally tried to bring him down on a spine board, but due to terrain, a public safety helicopter from Canmore airlifted him out on a sling. He was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and he is expected to make a full recovery. Let's check in with Dory Rossiter now and take a look at those thunderstorm watches that have been issued for Lethbridge and a number of southern Alberta communities.
Absolutely, and Jackie, it's not just southern Alberta, that extends into southern Saskatchewan as well. We've got these thunder cells that are already very active moving up through Idaho and Montana, and they're just aimed at southern Alberta and southern Saskatchewan. So the risk is for large damaging hail and very strong winds. So everyone needs to seek cover if you see one of those things headed our way. And I'll have more details coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, Dory. Lethbridge's Citizen of the Year was named today. Jerry Hecker was named Rotary Club and Lethbridge Herald's Citizen of the Year. In addition, Mayor Rayko Dodick presented her with a key to the city. Hecker is involved with a number of volunteer organizations and is one of the driving forces behind 5th on 5th Youth Services. She says she's extremely humbled by the experience.
I can't even begin to tell you how humbling that really is, because you know there are so many deserving people. And so to be recognized and looking at the all the past recipients, I should say, and I see how well deserving they are. So to be part of that, I think, gee, what did I do that put me into that class? And I'm really appreciative. I'm very humbled.
Past winners include Val Mattiotti, Dr. Gary Bowie, and CTV's own Dory Rossiter. Lethbridge is one of the top 25 communities for business in Western Canada. That's according to Alberta Venture magazine. When it comes to the business in the IT or high-tech sector, though, Lethbridge ranks second behind Edmonton. The rankings seem to give truth to business leaders' claims that the city is making some major strides towards becoming a major player in Alberta's high-tech scene. Well, if stores south of the border were hoping to see a surge in southern Alberta shoppers over the weekend, they were probably disappointed. An increase in duty-free limits went into effect Friday, and that means Canadian bargain hunters can bring back more merchandise before they have to declare the goods. But at the Coutts border crossing south of Lethbridge, there was no major change in the number of vehicles going into and returning from the U.S. The Canada Border Services Agency says traffic volumes were around normal for this time. We talked to some people who headed south on the weekend, and they told us they're not excited to take advantage of the new duty-free limits.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, really excited about it. Lots of variety, and yeah, it's really a lot cheaper, I think, and it's just a fun place to go.
Now, people making an overnight visit to the U.S. can now bring back $200 worth of merchandise, and that limit has doubled to $800 for those staying between 2 and 7 days. The federal government's budget bill is sparking protest among many people in Lethbridge. Saturday, about 60 people waved flags and banged pots and pans outside MP Jim Hillier's office protesting Bill C-38. Across the country, many people are upset about the proposed overhaul to old age security, employment insurance, and environmental laws. Demonstrators say the bill encompasses too much, and they aren't pleased with several of the proposed changes.
We're upset that the government is attacking Canadian workers, because that's what I am. I'm a Canadian worker, and they're trying to change the fisheries laws in order to push the pipelines through.
And today, thousands of websites across the country are dark in protest of the bill. A star-studded concert is underway tonight in London as part of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee celebration, but a key royal is missing. Prince Philip was today admitted to hospital and therefore unable to accompany his wife, the Queen, to the concert. The 91-year-old Duke of Edinburgh has been hospitalized as a precaution.
Want some whiskey in your water, sugar in your tea? What's all these crazy questions they're asking me?
The news comes in the middle of the Diamond Jubilee celebrations. Elton John and Paul McCartney will perform at tonight's concert, and Prime Minister Stephen Harper is scheduled to attend as well. And it was a royal occasion at Lethbridge Library yesterday afternoon to celebrate 60 years of Queen Elizabeth on the throne. In honor of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, the library hosted a kids' costume contest, treasure hunt, family tea, and documentary about Queen Elizabeth. Lethbridge's Monarchist of Canada donated a portrait of the Queen to the library. Organizers say the Diamond Jubilee celebrations are not just for the sovereign, it's for people of all countries in the Dominion.
And yet we share this same head of state, so we have all these connections with these other countries around the world, which, as a Canadian, the more connections that we can make and the more friends we can have around the world, that's really something for us to celebrate. And
the Queen has been to Canada 22 times in the past 60 years. Hundreds of boys and girls took part in the Lethbridge Cadets Fleet Days this weekend. The annual event teaches cadets about teamwork, leadership skills, and naval history. Boys and girls ages 9 to 13 are invited to take part, and this year cadets from across the province traveled to the city for the event from 9 corps. Organizers say it's a chance for them to learn something new.
We have such a diverse of everyone. They come, they learn about citizenship, they learn respect. There's just not enough of that taught anywhere else.
I like it because it gives me a little bit of a challenge, and it teaches you about leadership, it teaches you about voice of command, and it teaches you a little about the history of the Navy.
And the group also learned archery and fire safety at the fire hall. Dozens of Lethbridge riders were horsing around for a good cause this weekend. Members and supporters of the Therapeutic Riding Association took a trail ride through Pavan Park Saturday. Organizers say Ride for Dreams helps pay the regular bills like keeping the lights on because the association doesn't get any government funding. The Therapeutic Riding Association provides physical and emotional therapy. Families who have benefited from the therapy say the programs are invaluable.
When she was born, they told us she wouldn't walk. So we had to do a lot of various forms of therapy, and a lot of activities like sports didn't work well for her. So once we found therapeutic riding, things just took off from there, and it helped her overall and everything. Her day-to-day living, her activities, her schoolwork got better, everything improved.
The association also held a bar and dance and silent auction. They're still counting the proceeds, but say the event is always their biggest fundraiser of the year. It's Environment Week across the province, and officials are hoping to take back the tap. The awareness campaign is focused on bringing attention to the value of protecting and conserving Alberta's water. Representatives from the Helen Schuler Nature Centre, Alberta Health Services, and the Old Man Watershed Council were at Park Place Mall today, helping educate shoppers. Their setup included a bottled water versus Lethbridge tap water taste test and a trivia wheel. They say education is of the utmost importance.
It's a really important message. Drinking water is very valuable and very important for all of us. We use water every day in every aspect of our lives, and so it's super important to understand where our water comes from and also how we can help to conserve that resource as well.
Environment Week runs June 3rd to the 9th. On the markets today, a bad day for Bay Street. Here are the closing numbers.